I like to
Yeah.
Santa Clara, business trip.
I like it.
Hey, at least that big.
25 years.
The coolest one that I had was really short. You know, if we take one,
I'm just in a different mind space.
you know, I really enjoyed doing it. That was sick. And that one was $400.
We don't know
Why?
It's time.
7 o'clock? Okay, I'd like to call the monthly township meeting together for October. If you'll join me in the Pledge of Allegiance at 7 o'clock. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Will the clerk please take the roll?
Supervisor Barlow.
I'm here today.
Trustees. Shaver.
Here.
Yeager.
Yes.
Credo.
Here.
Bendenagel.
Here.
All present.
Okay. Number 2 is public comment. It looks like we have a few folks here. Nancy Fike.
That would be me.
Okay.
Is this right here okay?
Yep, we can hear you. I think
Okay,
you don't have to use a microphone. Just speak loudly.
Oh, good.
We're a small group.
I can't hear, so I speak loud.
Okay.
All right, as I said, my name is Nancy Fike, and I've been a resident of Mchenry Township forever. And for 31 years, I was the administrator for the McHenry County Historical Society.
Okay.
And since I retired, I've been delving more into McHenry area history. The city of McHenry has been kind enough to let me go in, and they've pulled the records starting in 1872 when McHenry became a village. And I go through there and I mine it for interesting information about how the city is, how the village has changed, and the issues that were important at certain times. And when I was in there the other day, I ran across this interesting thing they passed, and it was dated June 3rd, 1876. Moved, the village president was directed to notify the township board to remove the old town hall off the public square as soon as possible. Now, I've done a lot of studying on local history. There are a lot of books that talk about the original courthouse, and that, to anybody's knowledge, was the only public building that was on that square. That square was owned by the county, and I know in 1911, when the city fathers in McHenry wanted to divide it up to sell off 12 lots on that square in order to build a city hall, they couldn't, because they couldn't figure out the title and who owned the property. So as far as I know, it may not be the same. My thing is, I need help. The only way I can verify this, because it's not in any history books, and it would change the history of the square and the McHenry Township, is if I can look through your records. If you have, I know they go back to 1850, because they're working at the museum. We even have some from, say, like Coral Township. And if you've got them anywhere and know where they are, or if you don't know where they are, maybe I can even, if you let me run around, I can help you do that. But I'd like to verify this thing here.
May I ask one question?
Sure.
I've only been here for 30 years. Where's the square you're referring to?
Pearl Street.
Yeah, built courthouse.
Pearl Street Park, the Veterans Acres.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
that area.
that's where the first courthouse was built. Before that, they met in taverns. Where else?
It still is a tavern.
But I don't know if you know where your records are, because the earliest one will be 1850, and I need to go back that far.
We do have minutes that go back that far.
The minutes.
Yeah, no,
The minutes from the board.
We
do.
have minutes that go back into the 1800s.
Yeah, we have them back all the way into the 1800s.
is there any chance you'd I won't take them off the present, you know,
Oh, you could come in and look at those
Yeah,
anytime.
anytime.
how do I go about doing that?
Just
And I may-
come in, make an
Or
appointment
just
so they
give
know
me a
somebody
call
will be
and I'll get
there.
them all pulled out for you.
Yeah, if you can give us some years and they'll try to
Okay.
find some
I'll
stuff.
give you my card.
All right, good. It may be myself and a couple of other local historians, because if we go through, we can find it faster than just one person
Yeah,
going through.
no problem.
Wouldn't that be interesting to find out if we got,
Absolutely.
that you had a building there before the city, the village had anything? Okay, that's what I wanted.
Thank you.
All right,
I'll get you my card.
Judith Gottlieb.
Sure. Bye. F-I-K-E.
I just wanted to thank Mchenry Township Board for their support of the community garden. It really, it has meant a lot to the people who are gardening there. I'm hoping to get more new gardeners next year. Also, the park staff have been just wonderful to us, and we appreciate very much all that they did to assist. And the gardens are growing quite nicely. I mean, there's tons of marigolds and cosmos there right now. So if you have any desire for either of those two kinds of flowers, you are welcome to them, because we have a plethora.
How long will marigolds last into the winter?
They'll freeze out, but not until late
Can we
in
get
the
through
season.
Halloween?
What?
Can we get through Halloween? I might come and grab a.
Yeah, probably.
I've got a-
Probably. I mean, there's a ton of marigolds there, so
Okay.
you're welcome to them.
I know they're very hardy too. So.
They are very hardy, and yeah. So I just wanted to thank you for the help and support, and like I said, I hope to get new gardeners next year.
You've done a great job.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks.
And to continue on, when you were on vacation, I believe, the signs are in process, so we're trying.
Good.
I figured next spring is really going to be the
Yeah.
rollout of those with the year coming to an end.
Thank
But
you.
they're in process.
Thank you. And you noticed I did put up my own homemade one.
You're fine. Yep.
Stop taking our veggies.
Okay, Robert Beltran. If you wish to turn that around and use that to set your documents, go right ahead, Robert.
No, that's okay. These are just your paperwork here. I confess I didn't look at the agenda before I came. I was under the assumption that you were going to be talking about a resolution to address the issue of the pit.
I'll talk about that under supervisor comments.
Okay, you know, my position on the pit is that I think that the township has a responsibility to the population of the township to represent their interests, which would be to be protected from the water pollution, air pollution, noise, and traffic that would come from something that is a questionable benefit to the people in the township, not much less the people in the city of Mchenry. We're also township people, for the most part anyway. The other thing is I just discovered that there's the discussion to be held about township assets to be used for immigrant housing or other supportive uses. And I would only say that, given that the immigrants that it's referring to are people who are here legally but displaced as asylum seekers, we should give as much support as possible, especially if it can be done in a transitional situation where they would only, where they would be there as urgently needed as they are being processed into more permanent accommodations. So that's it. Thank you.
Sure, thank you, Robert. Anybody else wish to speak? Having no other speakers, we'll move on to our next agenda item, the approval of meeting minutes from September 14th. May I get a motion for discussion and possible action?
I'll make a motion to discuss and possible action.
I'll second.
I had a couple minor changes. I emailed them to Danielle and Gary. As long as those changes are in there, I have nothing else to discuss.
Would you amend your motion to, I don't know if you got an opportunity, I don't think this does.
I fixed it.
What was in the posted online, was that fixed?
No,
Okay.
no.
If you amend your motion to say that you'll approve the meeting minutes based on the information that you sent to the clerk, once that's corrected and comes back next week, we'll approve it.
I'll amend the motion to approve the minutes as adjusted with the minutes I sent to our clerk.
I will second the adjusted motion.
Okay. And so, I don't know if, obviously not everybody is aware, the next group of meeting minutes will come out. But are there any other comments regarding these that you believe need to be adjusted? Okay, with nothing being heard, all those in favor of the meeting minutes, once they're adjusted, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay.
Motion
Meeting, yeah, motion carries. Okay, motion for approval of receipts and bills for the town fund.
All right, we, the undersigned members of the Mchenry Township Board of Trustees, certify that we have this 12th day of October 2023 examined and audited the amounts due for the items specified in the claims attached and hereby authorized payments of same. Total reimbursements to be approved, $67.47. Total bills to be approved, $10,302.34. Total bills paid prior to audit, $288,714.06. Total to be approved, $299,083.87. Total receipts, $49,935.29. I make a motion that we approve and pay these bills.
I have a second.
Second.
Will the clerk call the roll since we're spending money?
Supervisor Barlow.
All approved? Dave?
Trustees Shaver,
Yes.
Yeager,
Yes.
Macredo,
Yes.
Vandenagel.
Yes.
All ayes, motion carries.
Item number 5 is the approval for receipts and bills for the general road and bridge fund.
We, the undersigned members of the McHenry Township Board of Trustees, certify that we have this 12th day of October 2023 examined and audited the amounts due for the specified in the claims attached and hereby authorized payments for same. Total reimbursements to be approved, 0. Total bills to be approved, $55,334.73. Total bills paid prior to audit, $15,000 and $15,091.56. Total to be approved, $70,426.29. Total receipts, $11,958.43. I make a motion that we pay these bills.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, will the clerk call the roll?
Supervisor Barlow.
Yes.
Trustees Shaver,
Yes.
Yeager,
Yes.
Macredo,
Yes.
Vandenagel.
Yes.
All ayes, motion carries.
Okay, item number 6 is the approval for the receipts of bills for the permanent hard road fund.
We, the undersigned members of the Mchenry Township Board of Trustees, certify that we, on this 12th day of October 2023, examined and audited amounts due for the items specified in the claims attached and hereby authorized payment of the same. Total reimbursements to be approved, 0. Total bills to be approved, $21,041.57. Total bills paid prior to audit, $24,991.73. Total to be approved, $46,033.30. Total receipts, $4,289.45. Making motion to pay the bill.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, will the clerk call the roll, please?
Supervisor Barlow.
Yes.
Trustees Shaver.
Yes.
Yeager.
Yes.
Credo. Yes. Bendenagel.
Yes.
All ayes, motion carries. Ayes.
Ayes. Ayes.
Ayes, whatever.
Item number 7 is fund transfers. There are none this evening. Moving on to new business. Item number 8. 8.1 is the levy and budget discussion to approve the amount to be raised by taxation for the 2023 levy year. Do I have a motion and a second for that discussion and possible action?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay. Did you pass out, there's some updated documents that, there was a information change at the county website.
So what happens is the county does what is called equalized assessed valuation run sheets, and it shows you the EAV that's being calculated, and then it shows you the new construction that's going on within the township, and based on numbers that are then put together and submitted to the county. So what you have in your packet is, the first sheet is basically our calculation sheet, and I'll go through that with you. The second page is a page of showing you last year's extension, so some of those numbers that are used comes off that sheet. And this is also used for information, and this comes from the county. But the second page is, you can see up on the top there, it says 10/10/2023, and that's the run sheet. And that gives us some values in the very far right bottom corner, and on the very top, it gives us our new construction, and then our EAV that's anticipated that has come in. And so based on the computation of the extension that came in, and the money that was extended, and based on the new construction, and based on the county net equalized assessed value as of 10/10/2023, I was able to then take those numbers and put them together in this extension information. And what it does is, because of the property tax, everybody hears the tax cap and the PTEL, property tax extension limitation. What that says is that you can't get any more than the CPI or 5%, whichever's less. Okay, so whichever is less. So last year, in fact, the CPI was like 7%. This year, and you'll see on my little sheet, the actual CPI was 6.5, and that information is given to us. So we know our CPI is 6.5, and because of the PTEL, we know we can only use 5. So that's why that number is 5 in there. The first number is 1514528. That's what was extended last year. And so this first, call it paragraph area, is this computation of using what we received last year times this rate, then taking into consideration our equalized assessed value that's coming in from the county, and then the new construction. The new construction is what's kind of gone on in our township, and we've got $30 million here. So once all those numbers are calculated, what I want to know and what I want to be able to tell the township is what amount can the township receive, and what does that mean because of this new construction as far as our tax rate. And so you'll go down to the next line, and in the bottom right, you'll see what is called the limiting rate. And the limiting rate is the max rate, based on all this, that you're going to be able to receive if you levy for 7.01, 7.06. So this limiting rate is the most you're going to receive. And if you look at that limiting rate compared to what you did last year, or what was received last year, it's 2.2% less. So the actual rate, the tax rate for the township is going down by 2.2%.
That's with the 7% increase?
That's with a 7.06% increase. And John, you're saying, well, how the heck does that do that?
Something like that.
Right, absolutely, absolutely.
Exactly.
4 days. Because of, you have all this new growth and new construction that's been going on here, and you have this quadrennial that's going on. So that's being assessed all the way across. This is saying, hey, look, you can capture your new construction, you can get monies, and I was just kind of going back, thumbing back through where you were at. You were at 2 point something, 1.8 levies at one point in time. This is not even getting you back to 2017, 2018, I forget whatever the year was on that sheet. But you actually decrease your tax rate for your constituents, and you're able to generate funds for the township. But this requires, because of, again, PTEL and the Truth in Taxation, the Truth in Taxation Act, what it says is that anytime you levy more than 5%, you have to do what is called, we call it a black box.
Black box, yeah.
Okay, so if you said, we want to just do a levy, when we want to do a levy for 7.06%, in order to do that, or in order to accomplish that, you have to do a black box. Okay, Jim, what does that mean? That means you have to publish in the paper this black box that says some information, and there's nothing, it's basically statutory, so it basically reads the same for every unit of government that does it. The numbers plug in, and you would put the 7.06 or whatever the number is.
It basically just highlights to the reader.
It highlights.
That's all it is, you're just highlighting
It actually does two things. Absolutely. And it's actually constructed as far as what size bullet point it has to be. So it highlights to the reader, number one. And number two, you have to have a public hearing. So you would usually typically do it 15 minutes, 30 minutes before a regular meeting if you want to do it. You could certainly have it on another night, but in order for economies of scale, you could do it the same night, just earlier than your regular meeting. So you have a public hearing, and then after the public hearing, because it gives an opportunity for the public to come in and comment on it, and then you would then adopt whatever that levy is at that regular meeting. If you do something like anything less than 5%, you don't have to have that public hearing and black box it. You don't then recover the funds that are in here then, and you don't get to where you may need to be on your budget for revenue. But what I presented here to you is your max amount that you can receive under the structure that you have by black boxing and being able to reduce your tax rate.
We're adding more homes to the, I almost said payroll, but we're adding new homes to the tax incoming, but
Yes.
yet we're gonna get less money?
More money. You're gonna get more money.
No, the tax
Yeah,
rate,
but
The
overall,
tax rate went down.
we're gonna collect less money.
You're gonna the township will see an increase in revenue, but the tax rate for the township is gonna go down. Okay,
Because
so
But we're gonna collect more money.
Because of,
you're gonna collect more money.
so
that's
is
fine.
that to
Because of the
say,
new construction.
Correct, all right,
Yes,
that's-
yes.
so that is to say the rate that each household pays will go down, but there are more households now from which we collect a greater amount. So
Fair
we
enough.
get more money, they
Fair
pay
enough.
less.
Fair enough.
But what you're saying, just to confirm, is the most that we could collect would be the 7.06%, but that
Correct.
requires the additional notification because of the percentage. But even if we did the 7.06%, the individual household tax rate for the township is gonna go down.
That's correct.
But also, at the same time, what I've heard from a lot of people is that their assessed values have increased. So the percentage that we are collecting goes down on each household, but it's possible, theoretically, that though someone's tax rate has gone down, the dollars that they pay may remain the same, may increase, but overall,
Each house, that's correct.
overall, we could say we have reduced the rate of taxation
by 2.2%.
on all of the households, even though we're going for the max amount that we can go, and that's why we need this hearing.
Correct.
But the understanding that we could give to the public is that the tax rate has gone down.
Correct.
We're doing this hearing because it's a formality
Correct.
and the publication, but we're gonna collect more money because we're growing, like, this is a good thing.
Yeah, we're capturing as much growth as we can.
We're able to, we're still in the process of clawing back, bad choice of words.
Correct.
We're getting the money back that we lost when they the previous board cut our levy down to or $800,000. So,
Correct.
and at that point in time, we had a budget of somewhere around 1.8 or $2 million. So we were deficit spending.
Yeah.
So we can't continue to deficit spend, and that's why the recommendation is the 7.06. Our rate goes down, our taxation rate goes down. There's more buildings, for lack of a better term, that this is being spread out over. So the potential for a decrease is there, yes.
And specifically, so you said it was cut in half at the time to 800,000.
Yeah.
I
It
had
was
a sheet
750, so 700,000 for the town and 50.
in
or
2021.
780, I think it was 780.
In 2021 to 2022, on this sheet that I'm looking at, it's saying it was at 800,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
In 2018 to 2019, it was 1,688,000, so you're not even getting back to
Yeah,
that.
so we are still less than we were 5 years ago.
Correct.
That's fair, yes.
That's really,
Yes.
that's very positive news to deliver to people if we are still saying we are going to go for this maximum.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah,
I think it's all in the presentation.
It's gonna take years to catch that up.
yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Probably about 3 or 4 more.
At
So-
least 4 more.
One of the things in the truth and taxation now, the levy needs to be adopted before the last Tuesday of the month of December. On your agenda pursuant to the truth and taxation, we don't need you to pass any levy tonight. I just need, or I would recommend that the board approve a number levy amount. So if 7.06 is you're fine with that, then 1,621,382 would be the number to approve, or some number around that number.
So if I were to propose a rate of $1,630,000, our limiting rate doesn't go up. The only thing I'm doing by doing that is ensuring that we capture all the growth. Is that correct?
That would be correct. You're not gonna get anything more than that limiting rate.
Exactly. So, I would make a motion that we provide a number for the levy of $1,625,000. I'm just rounding it up, just to make it easier.
I'll second that motion based on all the discussion.
And that's just to ensure we capture all the construction growth. And it's gonna be somewhere in that 7.06 and another decimal out there somewhere.
Well, I'm pretty confident as of today, this is your number.
Yeah.
Unless the county comes out with a revised schedule next week.
Yeah, don't think that's happening.
So
How long
what we're
can
saying
we
is we're
revise
raising our
this?
taxes by 7%, is that what you're saying?
No, we're lowering your taxes by 2.2%.
Okay, all right.
How long can the county change these? Up until when?
Well, it's based on when the assessors get their numbers in and close the books.
We're certified already, right?
We're certified, and actually, if you go on the sheet, you show that we're certified.
Sure.
Now, there may be some tweaks and adjustments because of something that came on, or because of PTAB, or because of the board of review.
We can change that at the hearing, right?
So they'll do that when they're in the board, when the county board of review hearing is going on, there's some change going on, or there's a tax appeal going on, that's gonna have an effect, and then they do it automatically right then and there.
It's just.
But as from our assessor standpoint, compared to other assessors, she's got her books in, she's ahead of the game.
She's good. All right.
Jim, I do have another question. I caught the county raised their taxes 1.95%?
Not yet.
Well, that's what they're proposing. How's that compared to what we're saying? Shouldn't ours be higher? Because they're increasing theirs by 1.95%.
We're potential.
Well, it's gonna happen. I mean, that's the way I read it.
If you want a levy greater than 7%.
I'm just asking a question.
So, those are two different things. Raising your tax rate, you're not raising your tax rate, you're reducing your tax rate by 2.2%.
Right.
Okay. If you're saying that they're raising their tax rate by
95, right, is what they said.
Then that is a different number altogether than this. This is a limiting rate number, meaning this is the most of an increase that you could ask for in order to affect your limiting rate. So your limiting rate right now projected is 0.1013, which is your tax rate.
Every area
Which
has
is-
a different
yeah, so-
limiting rate, John.
So we've actually reduced it from last year to this year. By them doing that, that means they may not have had the new construction that we, overall for the county, they may not have that new construction that we have. And quite honestly, some districts that I've seen and I've looked at, they're at 5.01. You know what I mean? Instead of 706, like they're at 5.01 or 5.02 or 5 point, you know what I mean? Something small, which tells me that, because you're automatically getting the 5% because the CPI is already 6.5. So you know your starting point is 5. If it's 5.1, that's just telling me that there's very little growth.
So to make sure I understand this, because it seems like it's backwards to me. We're actually lowering everyone's taxes by 2%.
We're lowering
Their
everybody's
rate.
tax
Right,
rate.
by 2%.
2%.
But there are more houses.
Correct, so I understand that, don't confuse me.
He's easily confused. All right,
Now,
we
can
have
you
a
maybe
motion.
explain-
We have a motion.
I just
on
want to
the
make
floor.
sure that everybody understands and has, John, did you get your question answered?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Mark, you okay?
Crystal clear.
Okay, Adam?
One, and I don't know, because attorney said this is separate, but, so for example, in our budget conversation so far this year, we've talked about trying to bring some of the elected official positions back to where they were financially.
Okay.
And Gary, you have maintained that, hey, we need to find the money for these things. We've agreed on that. We're not talking about raising our taxes at this point. We're talking about the limiting rate of what we can raise our taxes, correct?
We're bound.
You're capturing.
Yeah.
You're not raising.
Yes.
Yeah, so
So you were starting to go down the path of, hypothetically, if we said we want to raise, we want to increase.
So if you came in and said, I want $2 million, let's just say you said, I want $2 million. PTEL will not let you do that.
Okay.
So you'll never even get it.
Right.
And so what I'm trying to do is provide you information as to what is the most that you can get under the structure that creates the limiting rate. So I guess the round way back to the answer to your question is our limiting rate, the tax rate for the township is going to go down by 2.2%. However, because of the new growth and you're displacing that over more people, the township will receive more money.
Correct. Okay, just want to confirm.
Yeah.
And what is that figure? How much more money?
$1,621,382, approximately $107,000 more from last year.
Okay.
That includes both the town fund and GA.
That's
So
correct.
That's
That's combined.
That's an
some of
overall
that, that's a
number.
combined
Yeah.
number.
One last question, what's the road district doing with this?
I have no idea. I mean, I
You think
have a
someone's
sheet,
gonna say-
I have a sheet for them too,
Oh, okay.
as far as where they go with that. I'm not 100% yet.
Yeah, he's gonna capture growth, I know that,
Well,
and we've had that conversation.
But point of reference though?
They're different.
Well, not necessarily. The sheet that here is the assessor's estimated because you're the same township.
Yeah.
Okay. So those numbers are actually the same ones used in calculating for his rate. I think his might be like 7.04 or so, it's gonna be pretty close.
I think someone seconded Gary's motion.
I did.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
You have a motion on the floor already.
So, all those in favor of the.
Roll
Oh,
call.
roll call, sorry. I overruled.
Supervisor Barlow,
Yes.
trustees Shaver,
Yes.
Yeager,
Yes.
Macreado,
Yes.
Bendenagel,
Yes.
all ayes, motion carries.
Request for discussion of township board opinion. Township assets being used as immigrant housing and used for any manner. I'll make a motion for discussion and possible action.
I'll second.
Okay. So in my travels this month or since I've gotten this request, the only thing in township code has to do with general assistance, meaning that if a legal refugee comes to the township and meets the criteria for general assistance, we would have to provide general assistance to that person. That's the only legal thing that the township has to do. As far as zoning or anything of that nature, that's all the counties. But I don't anticipate, there's nothing in front of the township that would require us to spend any township assets at this point, money, or utilize any township assets and spend money on immigrants or refugees that are coming to the United States. There's really nothing to talk about.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
As I read that, which I may be totally off base, I thought that I was assuming it meant using physical assets, like if you have a building that people can stay in for a short period of time to be accommodated or something.
We don't have any buildings like that. We would be displacing our current constituents, and I don't think that they would go for that. That's the problem.
Displacing constituents?
Voters or users, the people who use our buildings.
Oh, okay, well.
Let's say, like, this hall's empty tonight if we weren't here.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it would depend on how much of an emergency situation it was, but like if it has been used.
And I'll even qualify it further. The state will tell us what to do.
Oh, well, okay. I was just remembering when there was
the winter
winter,
The whole
homeless crisis.
I guess the gist of it is we don't have any jurisdiction or any control over what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I also didn't know if you had any other buildings.
All we have is the community center in Stakey Highlands, the Whispering Hills Community Center. That's the only other building that I know of besides what's here on the campus.
The reason I brought it up, Gary, you say there's nothing to discuss any further. I don't know if I agree with that statement. I did call Emergency Management Agency today because there's an article I ran into which I passed out to everybody. And I talked to one of the managers there. His name was Bob Ratz. And the first thing I asked him, because our county chairman said we're not a sanctuary county. And he told me that's not true. That's the first thing he told me. You can call him in, but that's exactly what he told me. That Mike Bueller saying that doesn't necessarily make it true. I talked to Bob Ratz, and he did tell me there's already some families that have moved to Cary. He doesn't know of any other information of people coming out. And I'm not trying to sound alarming or anything. I just want to talk about it. That's all it really is. He did tell me at the county level there are discussions next week to discuss that very issue. I didn't ask him what the issues were or how they were going to get into it. But his phone number's on the back of the piece of paper I gave if you want to call him. That's exactly what he told me. What he told me was we need to treat the migrants just as the homeless people we do already. So my concern there is the amount of money we've allocated to emergency assistance. I don't know if we keep it the same, we should raise it. My personal feelings on the matter is these people are already in our country, they're already here. We can't let them just live on the streets and die. Again, that's my personal opinion. We can sit there and talk about it all day, everyone's gonna have different opinions. I just want to make everyone aware that it is out there. And for us to pretend that it's not out there is just not the right way to approach it, in my opinion.
Are you talking about legal or illegal?
Either one, doesn't matter. Me and Debbie talked about this about an hour last week.
Illegal.
They're still homeless. They're still homeless.
Can't do anything if they're illegal as a township.
They don't have the legal documents that
They
says
would
that
not
they can be in
have-
the country.
right, you could not.
We can't help them. If they
Not
are a legal
even with
resident,
emergency assistance,
if they're a
you
legal
cannot.
resident, working alien, refugee, while they're going through the process.
There's paperwork
There's
for
paperwork that has to
refugees to sign
associate
off.
with it.
And could
Mine
they
with
not
all
be
that.
arrested?
In
What
theory,
if they move into someone's house?
we don't have any control over that
Doesn't
house.
matter. I have no
Exactly, but
interest.
then
If
that
they are
person
not
comes in
legal,
for
I
emergency
can't-
assistance.
Who? The
Nope.
homeowner?
Yeah.
Doesn't
Probably won't
matter.
qualify
It
if
does
he's got a
not
job.
matter.
I'm just asking a question. I
No,
really
it
don't know.
doesn't matter. So like, I can have a husband and wife, they're married, but if he's not a legal resident, I cannot help him. I have to take him out of the family unit and help them differently.
Now, if the county board comes out with different direction, we have to follow that, correct?
No.
No,
They don't make
we
township
are
code.
dictated by public aid
Okay.
for general assistance.
So we're protected is what you're telling us.
We're fine.
Very good.
The only issue that you have is budgeting issues when it comes time to budget time to make sure you adequately fund.
We haven't had it yet. Okay, so he's right. So if the homeless population did increase or whatever, and it ended up here in our township, and they were legal residents, or they're here legally,
By the definition of
by
general aid or
definition of whatever
Yeah.
their status is, then we could, but it would probably be a GA issue, not emergency issue at that point. Because then, for them to finally get to that point to come here, they have already gone through the process to become legal, whatnot. They're gonna be on the GA rolls, and that's where that will go.
So when they get to the township for assistance, if I'm not wrong, when they get to the township for assistance, they've exhausted all avenues above us in the government for assistance.
Right, that's
We're
why
the
they usually
last-
don't end up here.
We're the last stop for
Yeah.
any assistance.
And if they haven't and they come here, we would put them on our rolls and then get them into those. That would be a requirement of their being redetermined every 28 days. They would have to follow certain steps.
But if that were the case, they'd be eligible for emergency assistance as well, would they not?
No,
Okay?
you can't get both at the same time.
We've had that conversation.
Just
And
make
they're
sure
either
it's
gonna be
repeated.
a GA case or they're gonna be an E.
Oh,
Just make sure
you
it's
don't
repeated.
remember all of it all the time. Exactly.
But I think what you're thinking, maybe the paperwork is all the same.
Yeah.
Correct, the
So
paperwork
you've
is,
already
the-
got the information.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. They have to go through the general assistance process in order to get emergency assistance, correct?
You're close, might not be.
So, I guess that ends our discussion. No action, no reason to move on from there. Okay. Old business, 9.1 is the investment resolution review. Discussion and possible action. Are these both tied together?
Yeah, so the first document, the first 2 pages is the actual resolution.
Yeah.
It's basically saying, whereas,
Yeah.
and then, hang on one second.
Let me make a motion for, I will make a motion for the review and possible action of the investment resolution or ordinance.
I'll second it.
Go ahead.
Okay, now,
Oh, yeah, so the first
We
2
all
pages,
vote aye, by the way.
the first 2 pages
All
are
those in favor, is aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
are the whereases to adopt it, and attached to it is the actual investment policy. And last time I was here, there was some suggested comments, which were good comments, and those changes were included into the document. And so those were specifically made.
Yeah, just a little history on this. What happened was, one of the banks that we used had on the investment policy side, had a capitalization change. So we needed to match our ordinance with who we were banking with. That's how this originally started. And then it mushroomed into, once we started reading the ordinance, we needed to update our ordinance at the same time. So that's how this all got here, was through a change at the bank.
And then one of the later changes that this board had was, there was some questions and concerns about bank-to-bank transfers versus internal bank transfers, so that clarification was spelled out as requested in 5C2. So that was taken care of as you requested. And I think all those were addressed, so.
Make a motion to accept?
I'll second it. That's a voice vote?
I would roll call.
Okay.
Supervisor Barla,
Yes.
trustees Shaver,
Yes.
Yeager,
Yes.
Credo,
Yes.
Bendigo,
Yes.
all ayes, motion carries.
Yeah. Just so I don't miss anything, I would ask to move the proposed agenda items to the end of the evening here, so we're not doubling up on some things. As I go through my report, there may be some questions. So the supervisor's report, I don't know if you guys all had an opportunity to go through it. I'm going to start with the senior services. So as you know, I was over at the county in front of the Senior Services Grant Commission.
Gary, can I stop you?
Yes, and the motion and the discussion, or
We need them,
this is just a report?
but aren't you going out of?
Oh, yeah, I need a motion to move item number 10 to the end of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to move item number 10 to the very end of the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So that it's actually going to go right before adjournment.
Can I also make a motion to move something, just since we have guests here as well? Can we possibly move, I'd like to make a motion to move board member comment to somewhere prior to executive session.
Might not apply, because I have stuff that we're gonna discuss that has nothing to do with executive session.
I'm saying do it before executive session. So, for example, one of the things I would like to bring up involves Mr. Kaminsky. You'd have to sit here and wait through executive session if we don't move it.
We don't have anything for executive session.
Oh, it's on
Yeah,
the
we do.
agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry, we do. That's the.
Adam's right, we can move it up, sure.
Sure,
Okay.
if he doesn't want to hang around.
Well, and
So motion to move item number 10 to before adjournment, item 16. And then the second part of the motion would be to move board member comments up to
Before executive
before
session.
item 14.
Correct.
So all we're doing is just moving those around.
You're killing me.
I'll help
Okay, I
you.
need
I'll help you.
I need a second.
I'll second that.
So all those in favor of moving those agenda items around, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all approved. So back to the supervisor's report. So senior services at the county went to present our grant request with both the Village of Hebron, Richmond Township, and Burton Township. There's been some discussion about forming some sort of transportation group here in the northeast corner with the county. They'd like to see us do something as together. The reason I bring this up this evening is that Senior Services put our request into a contingency fund for funding of our buses. It wasn't line item funded. We have a promise from the county that we will receive our monies for this year that we've requested. The source of those funds is to be decided. I don't know how the bookkeeping is going to take place, but we've been promised the $20,000.
Period.
Okay, so they are taking an approach at the county level that for senior services transportation, they don't want one government agency funding another government agency. So we probably won't have the opportunity to go back before them next year to get any grant money from Senior Services Grant Committee.
But did we always go through senior services? I thought we applied for that grant ourselves.
Okay, so from what I remember, the sources of funding are, we've done this one, we've once already when we're awarded it, and we're still working through that this year. We went for this one. It looks like it's all full steam ahead. The other one where we used to get funding was from Northeast Illinois Area on Aging. They are not offering grants anymore.
Correct.
So what has happened when there was no grant money available, or the previous board said no, but they were still running the buses, the township made the monies available through tax revenues, because that's what the constituents directed them to do. They wanted to run the bus service. So we're running the bus service. So all I'm talking about is that I'm going to have to become much more aggressive with the private foundations, such as the Community Foundation, Northeast Illinois on Aging, and other agencies that will fund a bus service for us for the elderly. And then also work with Richmond and Burton and Hebron to come up with a transportation plan that would supplement PACE. PACE doesn't work well out here. They have a route that runs through Johnsburg, and, the whole difference between McDOT and everything else. So I'm meeting with the other supervisors and the village treasurer in Hebron to try to come up with an idea that my mind is thinking is that how do we transfer what we do here to this whole northeastern quadrant and provide services. What that looks like financially, have no idea. Have no idea how the intergovernmental agreements will be structured. I'm sure I'll be leaning on our attorney, Mr. Militello. But what I'm trying to say is that we're going to have to go find another source of funding for senior services transportation in FY25.
Yes.
Gary, can I ask a question?
Sure.
So, just to make sure I'm understanding this correctly, the primary agency from whom we used to get the grants has stopped doing the grants.
They weren't the primary, I believe they were secondary, but yes. due to timings and things. Correct. There,
Okay,
yes.
so who was the primary then at that point?
I think Northeastern Illinois on Aging gave us more money.
Okay. But we were also getting money from the county.
Yes,
Okay.
from what I understood.
So then the prior board said no grants, so
We didn't apply, 1 year we stopped and did not apply for grants.
So then
We've
we-
reapplied these last 2 years.
they're made to kick it out of the town fund, essentially.
That's
Yes, because the electors
So the
wanted
last
us to
2
continue
years-
the bus.
The last 2 years, we've been able to collect it from the county and the other entities.
$20,000, yes.
Yep. But now the county's saying no more.
Correct. Well, I'm not saying no more. The question becomes is where is the money going to come from?
No, but I'm saying the county is saying we are not going to.
Senior Services Grant Commission, the vibe that I'm feeling is not going to do grants for senior transportation in the future. They like to see us get our money somewhere else. Now, they are assisting us in working with PACE to get additional funding directly from PACE. Don't know what that's like or the timing or anything. I got to talk to Scott.
Do we know
I've
anything
got to follow
about
up in with him.
what precipitated the change on their end? Because that's like,
I don't know what the county's thinking was. They said, the way it was explained to me is that they don't want, in Senior Services Grant Committee for transportation, they don't want one government agency giving another government agency, the taxing body,
but it's been happening historically.
Correct.
That's akin to a parent cutting their child off from their allowance when the child owes people money that they're going to pay based on their allowance. It's kind of, it's just interesting.
I understand it, but it's also just moving the money around at the county. They're just moving the money around. It all depends on what agency.
But we were getting money from the, like, county was giving township money.
Correct.
That was a major source of revenue for the bus service.
$20,000 out of 150, yeah.
It's significant.
Yeah, it's nothing to shake a stick at.
But at the same time, then the county is now also saying, we want you guys to change how this whole thing works.
How we fund our bus service, yes.
But Gary, is PACE still gonna give us these buses at the same rates they're paying now?
There's been no discussion regarding the rates on the bus, but I assume once this contract is up, they'll extend the bus rate. We would
I mean, 'cause we're getting
negotiate- Yeah, $100 a month
Right.
for a bus, and everything else falls on us. Maintenance and gas and insurance.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
When you say the county is changing their policy, who in the county is making that policy change? Whose decision is that?
I'm hearing the information through the Senior Services Grant Committee that I go from. The head of that grant committee is, I believe, Ms. Altoff.
Oh, okay. So is this a unilateral decision on her part?
I don't believe so. I think would have gotten some direction from the county chairman.
Well, is it on his part? I mean, or has this been decided by any kind of committee or by, county board?
I have not studied it that far. I've just been trying to find money for my
I'm
grant.
just concerned about whether this is arbitrary.
Yeah. What do you mean by arbitrary? It's not arbitrary. We're losing funding potentially.
No, arbitrary on the part of whoever's making the decision.
For senior
Being
services.
made on a whim, or if there's.
I don't know.
Been consideration.
I would ask our county board member that's here if he has anything he can shed on that. I don't think he does.
The reason I was going my direction with those questions is I feel like we should appeal to someone and say, like, do you realize how much of a help this has been? And now to just suddenly not do it when it's been done in the past is
I'm
not in the spirit.
99.9% sure the county understands what this money means to our transportation.
I personally think it's the people in the senior center we need to approach, because I think they're the ones, they're throwing us out. That's my view on it. I think the senior service people are behind this whole.
That's why, like, have we done something to
down
sour
there?
the relationship?
No,
or-
they're very, no, not there.
You're talking about the grant committee.
Right,
Is it just that they need the money themselves?
correct, that's
Or
what I'm
is it
coming
like
from.
that we've soured a relationship? I would just be curious.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, I don't know if it's true or not, I'm just,
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't gotten that deep into it in light of the other things that I'm tracking at the moment. But yes, if you all remember, numerous years ago, there was a referendum put before the voters about funding senior services. It was tied to Valley High, was one part of it, and the second half of it was Senior Services Grant Commission. And part of that was tied to senior services transportation. there was a 0.025 percentage of that money that was supposed to be set aside for transportation. Now, what I don't know is if the money that, for these other organizations, totals, if they have a transportation component to what they're getting funded, don't know that for a fact. I'm still having to do research. I've got to figure out where it's going, but I assume it's a similar situation that there's a limited amount of funds, and two taxing bodies just swapping dollars is really not beneficial. So I just, thinking quickly off the top of my head is that I think that they think that that money can be used better for the entire senior services committee or senior services grants that they're passing out, because there's only X amount of dollars to be passed out every year. And I know that when we were sitting before them, they had hundreds of thousands of dollars more in requests, and they're trying to decide which ones have more value. So I don't know. It's something that's going to have to be addressed, because I really don't know how Richmond and Burton and Hebron are going to be able to provide a better bus service than what they have today. They don't have any money. I mean, they got $6,000 in Hebron's transportation budget for seniors. They rent a school bus and drive them to Meijer or Walmart 3 times a week.
Do those entities happen to get money from the senior services?
Correct. That's why we went together and essentially presented together, saying that this is vital and we need our monies. And when we pitched, we're going to get it for FY24. We were pretty assured of that, but it wasn't a typical line item that each one's going to get X amount of dollars. It went into a contingency fund. The contingency is based on the county going to PACE on our behalf and asking for money from PACE to help fund our transportation.
And if they don't get the money from PACE?
They will give us the $50,000 that'll get split up amongst the 3 of us, 20, 20, and 10. And
Gotcha.
We'll have our transportation, we'll have that piece for FY24.
Gary, you keep saying 20,000, it's 30,000, is it not?
No, we're only getting 20.
Like 20?
Well, back up. I don't even know that, because we may have asked for 30, but there's only $50,000 in the contingency, and I believe Paul asked for considerably more than
Yeah, it says $42,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, that was my next question.
Yeah, no, so there would be $50,000 to divide amongst the 3 of us. And that would be up to the county on how they divide it. So that's why the recent communications regarding the meeting dates for the PTAC meetings, any of the community foundations that you can go to that we're not currently dealing with, and start building relationships there and looking for senior services grants for our transportation, and even to expand services for our seniors here. That's one of the things that our constituents has asked for, and we need to find funding for it. So that'll all come up in the budget also. I mean, it's tied in the budget, so. And I probably answered the question incorrectly when I was there. There was a question posed to me, what would happen to our bus service if we didn't get the money from senior services? Well, based on the input from our constituents, we will find a way to make it run. But I should have answered it differently and said that we would probably have to make some cuts to it to be able to fund it and make it live within our budget.
Or we'd have to raise the donation request amount.
The previous board did that, and that was a disaster, so I'm not going down that road. I would not recommend that.
Yeah.
That's just,
Can't see the word.
those are the only 2 levers
Yeah.
we can pull.
So, more to come, just wanted to keep you up to date on that one. So we're also, as part of the grant, we have to write a survey. So we've put a survey together for our riders on how are we doing, what are they looking for, why did they choose our service, those types of questions. So I'm gonna share that with our fellow folks up here that we're discussing and having conversations with, to make sure we're all gathering the same information from all the riders. We lost a driver. I don't know if you're aware of that. We lost a driver, and we now have our parks department driving buses on a daily basis. And then from a substitution standpoint, we do have a part-time driver that will come back seasonal. His business will be shuttered in November, so he'll hopefully come back in November. If he's not chosen to do something else, please come back. So we're dealing with that man down, and then we also have a man down in the Parks Department. So I've got Eric's, you know, he's run out of fingers to put in the holes in the dirt.
Right.
So he's running around doing everything. Again, I talked about PTAC, the fish food pantry, the grant. I want to thank CDBG for the grant. That's the county. They actually, the money flowed through here and went directly to the pantry. That was a $35,000 grant. All of that has been taken care of. We're just waiting for the last 2 payments from the county to come back through so we can flow it back through. The Government Efficiency Act, I'm going down to learn more at the TOI conference, and then full steam ahead to get that thing done in the first quarter of next year. That was the reason. Open Meetings Act training is a component of that for everybody on the committee and everything. So I want to thank you all that have done that and turned in your certificates so far, as that's a requirement as a trustee. Town Park Playground equipment. At the last meeting, we had one complaint regarding the rubber matting being off of the flat planks that people walk on. We came to an agreement at the last meeting that we would shut it down. Part of the reason it wasn't done immediately is I got a guy who's short-staffed, and he's driving other buses. So we put snow fence around it. We're asking the inspector to come back and reevaluate our stuff to determine whether it is structurally safe, and that nobody, from a structural standpoint, all the things that he asked to have repaired have been repaired. We're missing bolts and things of that nature. So all of that's been repaired. All the swings and things that were dangerous have been removed. There's still slides and walking apparatuses that can be used. Granted, the rubber is missing off of the platforms that connect these things. I don't believe that deems that to be unsafe. I think that's just rubber missing and it's rusty. One idea we've had to try to prolong this while we search for a grant to replace it is like truck bed rubberized liner to spray over that. So we're going to investigate that, but we're also going to get another inspection. So that's going on there. We're coming to the end of the hail damage claim on all the roofs here and gutters and fascia and things of that nature that were included in it. I have a punch list sitting on my desk that's 6 pages long, so I need to walk through that and understand when we're going to get all of that done. So that's been kind of monitoring that too. We just finished the levy. Budget's next, coming up, so we're going to start preparing for budget. Then I also attended Fox Waterway Watershed stakeholder meeting, and they're putting together a, what do they call it, a watershed base plan. So it's really the north half of the river up to the state line. And so what they're doing is they're looking at ways to keep phosphorus out, and I can't remember other biologicals, I guess, that contaminate the river. So they're putting the plan together. Phase 2 will be working with governmental agencies to find grants and those things to be able to really dig in, dredging and putting up natural vegetation that will slow water from roads and getting in there with all that brake dust and all the other things that are bad for water. So, but keep in mind, the reason I jumped on that one and attended it is we have a lot of constituents that's properties border that watershed. So I believe it's part of our responsibility to share with them and work with them to educate them on how they can make their property better, instead of the, I guess it was a little before my time, 30 years ago, it was probably 50, 60 years ago, where there might have been some straight pipes into the river.
Could have been.
let's leave that there.
He might still be there.
Yeah, so, Blue Star banner, thanks to our board member, Carl Kaminsky, he's provided me a lead, so I think next month we might have a presentation. Now that we have one, I think it'll be easier to convince mine that has been sitting in the wings. Community garden, the signs are in process. And the town park, the waste baskets for doggy doo-doo is, they're there. So, they've been placed.
Is that all parks, Gary, or just this one?
These two are up here now, there's two more down there. They still need to be placed at the other parks.
Is that signage with the waste bins, or is it just the waste bins?
No, there's a waste bin with a sign that says put dog stuff in here.
Do we give them plastic bags too, or no?
No.
No, it says.
Natural vegetation, I know that I said I'd put that on the list for discussion this meeting, been a little busy. I need to talk to Eric, he's the guy who understands it, and what we'd have to do is come up with a plan and, you know, rather than talk about it, rather if that's the direction you think you guys want me to go, is well, we need to find places where it's gonna be beneficial. So it's on the list. Community garden sign, I'm double dipping on that one again. But other than that, that's what I've been up to. So just wanted to make sure I walked through everything and gave you an explanation of what's been going on. I don't know if you have any questions for me regarding this.
You brought up parks, and that's the reason I'm bringing it up. There was a plan that Jim Condon had in the Highlands, on Lake Street there, and I forget what he was working with. He was gonna take all that property and use it for floodplain. Do you remember that conversation, Deb?
Wasn't on Lake Street, that was
No,
on
not on
Fox
Nipperson,
Lake
it was
Road.
on Lake Street,
Fox
north
Lake
of
Road,
Ringwood
yeah.
Road.
Fox Lake Road?
Yeah,
Fox
Fox
Lake
Lake
Road.
Road, yeah, I said, yeah, on Fox Lake
Are
Road.
you asking if you put riprap in there and all that?
No,
he was working
Jim
on-
was working on something else.
Yeah, like
Fox
tearing all them
Lake
homes
Road.
down and make it like part of a floodplain, plain, and the only reason I
Oh,
bring
you're
that up.
talking across Route 12 where you want to.
No, on this, south of.
On our side,
Oh,
On our side.
not on the other side, on our side of
Yeah.
Fox Lake Road were those.
Jim was gonna buy
The park is.
houses?
That's,
Yeah,
Yes.
he was working with the
He's
state.
already put money on the side for
Yeah,
that.
and the reason I bring it
I don't know
up,
anything about it.
because if we take that property, we should be able to extend our park on Lake Street. And we should be able to reclaim that.
Oh, Fox Lake Road.
Yes, we should be able to reclaim, because that park used to go 50 feet out.
You're
What's it?
confusing the two.
No, it's the same.
Lake
One on
Street is at the
Street
end.
would not extend,
Lake Street is at the end,
right.
and then Fox
Fox
Lake
Lake Road,
Road.
yeah, so taken, because I forget what the terminology is. You're allowing for so much more floodplain. So now we should be able to reclaim some of our property at the Lake Street Park.
Oh, he's talking going from there.
Right, because it's in the same township, you think we should be able to do that.
You're talking about all those properties that flood like every time we get.
Correct,
any sort of-
either on Fox Lake Road, they flood.
I'm unaware of that plan. I'd have to talk to Jim about it.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't
would
know
assume
how
he's
far
in a-
that went. The
Yeah, I'm assuming he's in a
prior
similar
board-
position where it's probably on hold based on his revenue.
Well, right, and the prior board was on board with that.
Who?
The prior board.
Oh, really?
Really, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm bringing it up.
I'll ask Jim about it.
But it's been sitting for a while, so I don't know what he's got
Yeah.
going
You
on.
mentioned parks, and that's the only reason I brought it up, sorry.
Was the plan with the previous board in place, was there where we would extend? Or is it
I don't
just
think that
Jim's
part-
You'll have to
floodplain?
ask Jim, I don't know,
I don't think
I
it's
don't
something the
remember,
park was
it was
part of
years
it.
ago.
Okay. So, the assessor was sorry she couldn't be here this evening. Kind of moving on here. If you, obviously, I'll extend an invitation that she extends every time I talk to her, that you guys, she's got open door policy, just make an appointment and go talk to her if you got any questions of what's going on. So, I know she's been working diligently on appeals. I think that's over.
did she submit a report?
A report? I have not seen a report on any appeals yet.
A report is here.
Is it?
Thank you.
I didn't see it. Did I miss it?
I forgot to give you guys copies. I'm getting it. I will pass it out.
Okay.
She had it after we had posted.
Yeah. My apologies. And then you guys saw the highway commissioner's report.
That was a good text he sent out this morning. He's not here, so I can't thank him for it.
Oh.
There was that question about the, put some single on, I'm sure they haven't got the same text or email, did you not?
Talking about the Miller and,
Right.
yeah, that's part of what I'm gonna, yeah,
Did you get the email from Jim?
I did.
Oh, okay.
So that one's done. That one's there, that one's there. While we're waiting for the assessor's report, anything on proposed agenda items for next meeting?
Not that completely wrong.
Okay, so, yeah. If they come to mind, as soon as they come to mind, please send them to us. We'll take them as soon as you can get them.
Can I put one on there?
Yeah.
Discuss and adopt levy?
Oh, yeah.
Does the attorney have to be here for that?
No. Actually, I think you should.
Coming out of your budget.
Exactly.
That's why I brought it up.
That's why I said yes.
Just for clarification too, if that's the case, what would be the preference for the board as far as timing for the public hearing prior to the regular meeting?
15 minutes.
15 minutes before the November 9th meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna do that, thing like we did last year.
So you'll see a publication that says 6:45.
So maybe I'll be here.
Thank you.
Encouraged.
Thank you.
36 people came to the appeal workshop, that's great.
I actually attended that workshop. That was a very good workshop over at the Mchenry City Council chambers, and informative.
She
Learned
did do a
lot.
good job. She did a good job.
I learned a lot when I went there. I would encourage you to dig in and understand the taxes and the assessment process. Is that it's something that you got to be well versed on. It's important, I believe. Any questions on the assessor's report that I need to, or you can ask her yourselves, either way. And then, item 15 is getting moved ahead of item 14, which is board member commitments. We did that, and I'll help you with that in the minutes. Any board member comments? I'll start on that end.
Yes, sir. So there's been a lot of discussion. As you guys know, I manage the What's Going On Johnsburg Facebook group. And in our local community, Spring Grove Road and Miller Road, which is the road outside of Stoddy's Farm, or Stade's Farm, however you want to pronounce it, there have been repeat accidents at this intersection. And I think, I'm assuming other board members received emails, but I know I personally received 5 emails and probably 15 Facebook messages, because a member of the What's Going On Johnsburg group started claiming that it's the township's responsibility to manage this intersection and that we're not doing enough to keep accidents from happening at this intersection. I removed that person's comments because they were not factual and it was starting some quarrels. And so Mark had reached out to me and just clarified how that intersection jurisdiction works.
Yep.
Jim also provided that information. And so I let the people that reached out to me know that ultimately it is not the township's ability, purview, jurisdiction, however you want to phrase it, to manage that intersection, but encourage them to attend either the township meeting or the county board meeting if they wanted to provide further comment on their issues with the intersection. So I did invite board member Kaminsky here tonight just to say, you know, Carl, obviously a lot of people have had problems with this intersection. I'm sure you guys are going to get some people reaching out. Can't tell you what the issue is specifically, but the one this weekend or last weekend was...
It was this last weekend. It's all about nothing. They're getting their panties in a wad.
Yeah.
And it comes down that you can't fix stupid.
No.
Yeah.
It did
What
require...
it was,
Yeah.
it was 4 cars, 3 3 of them going north on Spring Road.
Yep.
The one in the front made a left on Miller. The other car kept going straight on Spring Road. The last car that was the cause of the accident made a left on the Miller and got T-boned.
By an oncoming.
Right,
on
a car
Spring Road.
going south. So there's nothing you can do. The guy that made the left was the stupid one.
Yeah.
He wasn't from Mchenry. You have a lot of people that are from the city coming up to Stotty's and Richardson's Farm. They're coming from an area that a stop sign is just a suggested slow down and look, to where out here it actually means something.
Yeah.
But you can't do nothing about stupid. Now, the county does, and I know it because I'm on the transportation, is monitoring all the roads. We actually go, have a vehicle that does go on the roads to make sure of the bumps, that they need to be repaired and things of that nature. We're constantly doing traffic study, speed studies that are on. You've got one going on right now at the roundabout at all 4 corners.
Yep.
So, you know, it is, you know, noticeable. The Flight to Life, and this is not coming from me, it's coming from the sergeant of the major crash scenes. And he was saying that the paramedics are just getting scared and they'll call Flight for Life just for being on the cautious side.
Yeah.
You know, yes, it was a tragic accident, but it is what it is, and if you think of the thousands of cars that go through there, that's not a whole lot of accidents. But
I agree.
again, you can't fix stupid.
No, I agree. Like I said, I only bring it up because I received a number of emails, feel like it's a responsibility to at least put it out there. Appreciate you coming and hearing what you have to say. I encourage them to go to a county board meeting if they have problems.
Well, it would be a transportation that would be the best. The board, we're on all different,
Yeah.
but the folks that have the meat and potatoes of that would be the transportation. And after you reached out for me, that's why I went and hit the poobahs that actually do the investigations on it.
Yep, so I will refer them to you.
Oh, bless your heart.
Contact information.
Bless your heart.
That's it, thank you.
No sarcasm there.
Okay. Trustee Yeager.
None.
I don't have anything else.
The only thing I had, and I just passed this out, to make everybody aware that Bob Anderson is out there again. He was in meeting with House Speaker Chris Walsh
Come on.
on eliminating townships. If you look at the second page, clearly look at eliminating the townships. It's on there again, liquidate 1,429 township governments. And that's, I want everybody to know he's at it again, so we don't forget he's off.
Is this something that's going to be a motion or a ballot measure or something?
Oh, no, I'm just making everybody aware that Bob Anderson is still out there trying to get rid of the township.
Nice.
Election season, we've got to have something to do.
And they even want to consolidate counties?
Yep.
Couldn't be so lucky.
So it's on his agenda.
Just trying to
I'd
stay
like to
relevant.
really understand how bigger is better.
It was proven already that it was not.
Okay.
Well, it all depends on.
Trustee Vinanayo, do you have anything for this evening?
Oh, trustee. No, I didn't. I thought you told me something else, sorry.
No, I was not.
Okay, with no other comments, I guess we're back to item number 14, which is executive session regarding an employee discussion under ILCS 120/2. So at 8:18, we adjourn the open meeting, and we're gonna move to
Well,
executive
we have
session.
Eric might have,
Oh,
I'm just saying.
what? You just came to check us out?
Yeah.
Anything you wanna share?
I was just
before-
listening online and, came to watch the rest of the board meeting.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's cool.
Carl, I just sent you a text.
Okay.
Take a look.
By the way, friends,
Thank you.
I brought some tomatoes. I'm gonna leave them there because we're gonna duck out after before your executive
Very
session,
good.
but I would like to share them. So help me yourself if you're
Thank
not
you.
growing tomatoes yourself at home.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good night.
So we're adjourned at 8:19 for a public meeting. Oh, I need a first and a second for the executive session.
You can have it.
First would be trustee Benenagel and trustee Shaver.
If you read the article, it's
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Keeping us straight.
How you been, Eric?
Pretty good, how are you?
Good.
Hey, do you got any spots left for your pumpkin
the House Speaker.
contest?
Yes, I do.
The names are listed on the.
I'm waiting on the buddy to let me know, but I should be able to let you know tomorrow. It's an interesting idea.
It's food for thought.
I think it sounds like fun, I can't wait to do it.